So you're thinking about grad school in the US, right? Well, there's one name that just stands above all the others, Fulbright. Today, we're going to break down this legendary program, step by step, to give you a really clear roadmap from just being an applicant all the way to becoming a scholar. Okay, let's dive right in.
And listen, that is not an exaggeration. As national finalist Jack Anderson puts it, this is one of the most prestigious fellowships on the entire planet. I mean, this is a program that has launched the careers of over 400,000 alumni since way back in 1946. And yeah, it is famous for being incredibly competitive.
So, why all the hype? Why does everyone want this so badly? Because Fulbright isn't just a scholarship, it's a completely, fully funded life experience. The program covers everything you see here. We're talking full tuition, your flights, a monthly stipend to live on, and even money for books and settling in. It's all designed so you can just focus entirely on your studies and the cultural exchange part without all that financial stress hanging over you.
To make sense of this whole thing, we've broken this explainer down into 4 main parts. We're going to start with the why, the big idea behind the program. Then we'll get into the real nitty-gritty of the application itself. After that, we'll cover the super high-stakes interview process. And finally, we'll look at what life is actually like once you get in.
So, let's kick things off with part 1, the Fulbright Dream. It's all about understanding the core mission of this really unique program. See, at its heart, Fulbright is so much more than just an academic scholarship. It's the U.S. government's #1 flagship program for cultural exchange, and its whole purpose is to build mutual understanding. What that really means is they aren't just looking for the students with the best grades, they're looking for future ambassadors.
Okay, let's move on to part 2, your application roadmap. Now this is the big one. This is where we break down exactly what you need to do to even have a shot at this.
First things first, get your calendar ready, because this is a marathon, not a sprint. Applications usually open up early in the year and are due in the fall. After you submit, it's a long wait for the interview shortlist. And the final results? They don't come out until well into the next year. To put it in perspective, you'd apply in 2025 to start your program in the fall of 2026. Yeah, it's a commitment.
Now, before you even start dreaming, let's talk about eligibility. You've got to be a citizen of a participating country and have a solid academic background, but maybe the most important condition, and honestly a real deal breaker for some people, is this. You absolutely must return to your home country for at least 2 years after you finish.
So what about the application package itself? Well, it's a beast. You've got the main online form, transcripts, a pretty detailed resume, 3 letters of recommendation, your English test scores, and 2 huge essays. Oh, and depending on where you're from, you might need to tackle the GRE. It is a massive amount of work.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. Jack Anderson, who is a national finalist, said he printed out a solid 20 pages of writing for his application. His word for it? Insane. And that just shows you why you absolutely need to start this whole process months and months in advance.
Okay, let's zoom in on those 2 core essays, because this is where a ton of applicants get confused. Just think of it like this. The personal statement is your story. It's your why. It's about all the personal experiences that shaped you. The study objective, on the other hand, is your plan. That's your what and how. What degree are you going to study, and how is that work going to directly help your home country?
The GRE. Just hearing those 3 letters can cause a little bit of anxiety, right? So is this standardized test a mandatory nightmare for everyone applying to Fulbright?
Well, the answer is it depends. It's mandatory in some countries, but it's optional in others. The test itself covers, believe it or not, middle school level math, but it's presented in these really tricky ways under serious time pressure. The English part is all about advanced vocabulary and understanding dense, sometimes pretty dry academic writing. The bottom line here? Do not underestimate this test. You should plan for at least 3 to 6 months of serious prep.
All right, let's say you make it through. You submitted your 20 pages of writing, you survived the GRE, and you got the email. You've been shortlisted. Welcome to part 3, the interview and selection.
This is really the moment of truth. You're sitting there, a panel of experts is staring back at you. What in the world are they going to ask? Are they just going to ask you to repeat what's on your application? Nope, not at all. These are real questions that were asked to a finalist, and they tell you everything you need to know about how different a Fulbright interview is. See how they're not about your resume? They're about your identity, your role as a cultural ambassador, and your actual commitment to building those lasting bilateral partnerships. So, here it is.
The single most crucial piece of advice from someone who's been through this whole process: do not use their question as a springboard to talk about what you think they want to hear. They've already read your application. They know your accomplishments. Your job is to simply answer the question they asked, directly and concisely.
After that intense interview, you'll get one of two results. You're either a principal candidate, which means, hey, congratulations, you got it, the scholarship is yours, or you're an alternate candidate, which is basically a waiting list. Now, that's still a massive achievement, but it does mean you'll only get a spot if a principal candidate decides to drop out.
But you know what? Getting that yes is really just the beginning. So now we're going to dive into our final section, life as a Fulbrighter and the whole journey that comes after you've been selected.
As soon as you become a principal candidate, this whole machine just kicks into gear. You get assigned a program officer who becomes your personal guide for everything. They handle the university applications for you, based on the list you gave them. Then it's just the final checks: medical stuff, degree verification, and finally, getting your J1 exchange visitor visa all sorted out.
Okay, let's talk about the fine print, because it's so important to be realistic here. First, university placement. Even if you get into a place like Harvard, if you also get into a great but less expensive school, Fulbright might place you there to help manage their budget. Second, that J1 visa rule we talked about, it is absolutely non-negotiable. You must go home for 2 years, and this also means you are not allowed to work in the US at all during that 2-year period after you graduate.
But look, despite all the tough rules and the insane amount of effort it takes, the reward is you get to join one of the most powerful and supportive networks on the entire planet. You become one of over 400,000 alumni across the globe, a lifelong connection to leaders, thinkers, and innovators in pretty much every field you can imagine.
So, let's be real clear. The application is grueling, the interview is unlike any other, and the commitment is huge. But the opportunity? It is, without a doubt, life-changing. So the only question left to ask is, are you ready to begin?